born to be free. I was born to be free.
Hi, aquaaficionados. Welcome to the World Life Tour, where we travel the world talking with the special guests from all the continents. On the first live, we started in Brazil with Hudson Crisanto, speaking Portuguese, much more easier for me since I'm Portuguese. Then we jumped to Colombia to talk in Spanish with Daniel Restrepo from Santa Cruz Tropical Fish and Carlos David. And now we are going to Germany to do the first live in English. It will be a great challenge for me, so I will count on you. You could write on the comments, Tiago, your English is great, is good, is understandable. That is good for me. Well, beside all of your support, we count on a special brand that support us from the beginning, or almost the beginning. That is Tropical. Thank you, Tropical, for all of your support and all of your kindness. Well, if you don't know the Paris Pleco project, you could follow us on Facebook or on Instagram, or you could subscribe to this YouTube channel by you are following now, and you could subscribe the channel for us to grow more, to reach much more hobbyists and aficionados, to continue doing these lives, these kind of events and other stuff. Well, we will introduce now our guest, our special guest, Daniel Konn-VETTERLEIN. Daniel is well known on the L number world, on the Catfish world. He's also president of the IGBSSW, I think it's this way. He's an international society that works with barbs, tetras, loaches, and catfish, and publish a great magazine. Daniel loves nature and loves to travel. He loves to do expeditions, but no better than him to tell us about his journey. Let's call him. Well, Daniel, I think you are already here.
Yeah.
Daniel.
Yeah, perfect. That sounds good.
Yeah, yes. Welcome, and many thanks for being here with us to give us a little bit of your time. I know I think you are a little bit tired because you have an event in this weekend. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, we had
Yeah.
a Tetra symposium running the whole day or up the whole afternoon, but it was quite successful. So
Okay.
I'm looking forward to another successful online meeting now.
Okay. Okay. Daniel, are you listening to me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I think everybody is listening to us.
I hope
So
so.
let's write, people. Let's write on the chat if you hear us. Just say, okay, I hear you, guys. Let's see what people. Dimitris is here.
Well, so far we have
who
like
is
3
this?
people
Yes,
listening.
yes, yes. Craig and
Yeah,
Olivia, well
might be
known
on.
too on this. Well, Daniel, we will start with to talk a little bit about you. You could start since where you when you get the first fish till today.
Oh,
Could you tell us a little bit?
well, yeah, that's
Let's start.
20 years of history then. But of course, well, my first fish I got was 10, as most people I think. So every time you ask somebody, they always say I got my first fish when I was 10. And it was a Cory. So they were bought as Cory July, but of course they were Trilliniatus. And
Okay.
yeah, I got them from my dad for a very small tank. I got a so-called pair. That's what the seller told him. And I think it took me like 6 or 7 weeks, and I wanted a bigger tank, a 1 meter tank, 200 liters. And then it took me half a year, and I wanted a third tank only for my Acanthicus adonis. So it's still my favorite fish of all. And yeah, it was growing because it did not
Yes.
adapt to the size of the tank, as I was told, of course. So even like 20 years ago, we did the same stakes as we do now. And yeah, then I ended up with a 400 liter, roughly 380, I think it was. And
Okay.
afterwards, my mom told me, actually, it was her, well, Daniel, you have to get rid of all the fish, and you're spending too much time on the internet, on Planet Catfish and elwelser.com. And she was a bit worried that I might get lost in the fish hobby. So she was like, well, Daniel, we might send you abroad somewhere. Why don't you go to South America? And yeah, that's what I did. So I was very keen to go there to see my own fish, to collect fish. And what my mom didn't know, and what I didn't know, what nobody could expect, I think, is that when I got my host family in Bolivia, and well, I now still call them my family because they are my family too. So I have two families.
Okay.
I got a document where they described themselves, and they were like, "Well, I'm your future mom for your year in Bolivia, and I'm running a fish shop." And my dad wrote in his document, "Well, I'm your future dad for this year, and I'm running a fish shop too." And my mom from Germany, she read this and she was like, "Oh no, please no, this can't be true." So I was sent to Bolivia for 1 year to get rid of fish, and I stayed at a house where both of my parents had two fish shops actually. So we went fishing every weekend, and I got totally into fish. So I got totally mad about fish. And yeah, that's when it also started, where like my first expeditions. I was 15 or maybe 16 years old back then, so I didn't go on to real expeditions. But
Yes.
yeah, this was my first experience abroad.
With 15.
Yeah, I don't know, 15 or
With
16.
15.
I always get mixed up somehow. But yeah, this was actually also the first time I got in trouble in Bolivia, and the first time I spent nights under the sky, and yeah, somewhere near a clear water river, somewhere in the middle of nowhere. So
Oh.
that was quite spectacular for a young boy. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I could imagine. So Daniel, you have aquariums at home in
Oh yeah,
this
sure.
time?
Yeah.
No, no. Yes.
I've got like
Yes.
I don't have them here, so this is more like my office style. But all my tanks I'm in the living room, and I think I've got, I don't know. I just put up some. I think I've 14 or 15 now. So not too
Okay.
many, not too big, because I'm living in an apartment, so I don't have too much space. And yeah, but it's enough for me. So somebody has to take care of all the fish whenever I'm gone
Yes. Yes.
fishing or finding new species, of course.
And you like to breed them? You have plecos, cories? What do you have in your aquariums?
Well, I used to keep only plecos. Like I grew
Okay.
up with Hypancistrus, Pseudacanthus, Ancestros, and all that stuff. But then I moved on to more difficult catfish. Like I love Pimelodus. I love all the big predatory catfish. And now I keep a lot of woodcats like Asterophysis and all the big ugly ones. You know, the angelfish eater and the iron head and that kind of stuff. And then I moved again. Well, in my head, not I didn't move from here, but I moved to a different topic of fish. And now I try to keep all kind of Bolivian fish. So I even keep cichlids, even if I don't like them, but I do keep cichlids to take pictures. I keep a lot of tetras in the meantime to take
South
pictures.
America, South America cichlids?
Yeah, from Bolivia actually, the ones we
Ah,
collected
okay.
ourselves, and then we brought them back, and so we now try to establish them here, smaller species, and yeah, if whenever you catch a fish yourself, even if it is a cichlid, it's suddenly very interesting, and whenever you see a fish on that net, let it be a geophagus, for example, you're like, oh, I've always wanted especially this geophagus, even if you had no idea that it existed before. And then suddenly you get home and you realize, wow, I brought home so many cichlids, and what am I going to do with them?
Yes, it's not easy to identify a fish when you pull them with the net. This is for people like me. I don't know how you can identify a lot of fish when you are in expeditions. It's easy or not so easy?
Depends. Well, I'm quite familiar, I'd say, with all the catfish from Bolivia, especially all the plecos and cories, of course. So that's the easier part. So sometimes you just pull out a net and you see, okay, this is cory echis, this is cory this, and this is stearbar, this is all the other latus and whatever. I'm having some of my problems with cichlids because I just don't care too much about them. Tetras can be very, very difficult. So even if you spawn them, even if you keep them over years, tetras can be like very, very hard because sometimes you have to count teeth or scales and that stuff. But in general, well, I don't travel alone, right? So I always bring some friends of mine. And normally it works out that one of us knows more or less at least the genus. And then it's quite easy to identify, if possible at all, the fish on species level 2.
Okay. Daniel, we have one question here. I will ask some questions too, but before I have one here from a Portuguese friend.
Yeah.
You could see the questions. Yes.
Oh yeah, I can. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, traditional fish tank. All right.
Let's hear.
So I hope you have all night, because that's like a long question and a very long answer. Of course, well,
Not for now.
I have
Not
to
for
answer.
now.
I have to answer. It depends on which species you're talking about, of course.
Okay.
Like if you're going to Xingu, the
My
river
favorite
is
river.
Yeah, of course. Like everybody loves Xingu, and it's a beautiful place. Like I know that Dimitris has been there too, and he will agree when I'm now saying that there are almost no plants at all. And if you find a plant in Xingu, it will be a plant fallen from the bank, from the forest, from somewhere. So if you just put stones and all these caves we use and slate and that stuff, it might not look very natural, but this is very much what the fish are known to. So this is what they are used to. If you have an Ancestors, for example, the one L519, 519, the one we brought back from Bolivia 4 years ago, they have never seen a stone. So they are living on branches and they're living on wood in kind of, well, not totally clear water rivers, but like a mixture of clear water and murky white water. And they're doing totally fine if you just put in some branches, piece of wood, maybe some plants like Echinodorus, and they will totally love it. Also, you have, of course, placos, like the big cactus, placos, Pseudacanthus, they also need tons of stones. See, no plants at all, Dimitri says.
Yes, talking about Xingu, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the people keep the ancestor zebra, and then they put anubias on top because it's more natural. Because many people still think that plants are nature. The zebra gives a peep about plants in his tank because he doesn't know plants.
This is this is my tank. I remove you from. You look it is my zebra
That's
tank.
a good view tank,
I have some
This doesn't.
lemon tetras.
Yeah, that's not a Shingu fish though.
No.
The decoration looks perfectly fine. So that's where zebras live. That's where. That's what they need.
Yes, I talked a lot with Leandro Souza.
Yeah, of course. Then you have seen all the videos from him. Yeah.
Yes. Daniel, could you could you tell us a little bit about your first real expedition, where it was? It went well. Yes.
Well,
what country?
Afterwards, every expedition went very well. Meanwhile, it can be a bit difficult, and you always have some days where you're like, "Oh damn, I should have stayed in Germany," and all the money for the flight and all the money to stay. But in the end, it's always a great experience. My first real expedition to Bolivia, for example, was in 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was 21 years old.
It was your first. Okay.
Like the first expedition I planned myself. I went fishing before, but this was more like let's go to every body of water and let's just collect everything. And when I was 21, I realized my first real expedition, and I sat at home for weeks planning. Oh, let's go to this river because we could find this, and let's go there. And this was actually also to Bolivia, of course. And I always try to link my expeditions to visit my family, like to spend some time with my Bolivian family too. And I was intending to get a good overview of the fish species living close to Santa Cruz, which is very much in the central part of Bolivia. And because I didn't know the country that well back that time, so I tried to stay close to the city. So whenever something would happen, I could just go back to my family's place and then could start again.
Exactly.
And it's still like a base camp. So I know whenever something wrong or something goes wrong, when something bad happens, I can always go back to this place. So we stayed more or less in that area, and we went to the Andean mountains a little bit, where we actually found 2 new species of an undescribed genus back that time. Nowadays, it's described as Andean ancestors, the genus, but not those 2 species yet. So the genus was described in 2015.
Okay, you sent me the photos. Are one of the photos you sent me? Yes.
No, not of this species, because back that time I couldn't take good photographs. They were brown fish, like a brown ancestors. So boring.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you did this first expeditions, you went with experienced friends on experience. When I talk in experiences in this kind of expeditions, or you planned?
Kind of. Well, I went together with my Bolivian uncle. So he was a truck driver, and he just took me to several places where I could go and find some fish. So we basically stopped at every river, creek, and pond, and we just hopped off the car and tried to get some nice fish. So, but we didn't go with like somebody from the ornamental fish trade or something. This was all, let's just like trial and error. So let's just see what happens.
Okay. And just you and your uncle?
Yeah, and a friend of mine from Bolivia. So a French guy, actually.
Okay. And when you do these expeditions, you are you are going with an objective besides visiting your family and go on an adventure. You are looking for a special species or undescribed species. What normally is your main objective?
Well, I try to mix both. So Bolivia has a huge advantage because Bolivia is not known for ornamental fish trade at all. There were some exports from Bolivia in the early 90s. So that's like 25 years ago, the last export from Bolivia. Although there was one more, but this was actually quite shitty. So it didn't work out. But there are many corners and many areas in Bolivia where you can still go to and you discover new fish species. So what I try to do is I look up some species that are known to science, that have been described 100 years ago, maybe 120 years ago. I try to make up their type localities. And then I'm just looking at the map to see, okay, where can I go to see or to find as many of these very well known but actually phantom species. And the good thing about Bolivia is wherever you go, you will also find a new fish, because it's just so unknown, this country. And many fish have been documented, but identified wrongly. So even if this fish has been shown before somewhere, a very good example is pretty much all the corridoras in Bolivia are either called Corridoras Eneos or Corridoras Punctatus. And especially the Punctatus is very easy because it's described from Suriname and it doesn't occur in Bolivia. So, but people just say everything that has slightly a dot or a spot or a blotch, it's Punctatus, everything. So you can find a lot of new corals. Like we discovered in 2015, we found this beautiful CW 153, which was not on intention. We went there to find another corridoras, and we just found it. It sounds easy, but it took us like days to get there.
Yes. Okay. And I have you send me a lot of images. We could put them and talk about them, but let's first talk. When you say you did expeditions to Bolivia, but you did expeditions to other countries, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
yes.
There are too many interesting places. I love to go to Bolivia, but I've been to Brazil, to Peru, Colombia too, just this year.
Okay. You have a traveled guy.
Oh yeah, I love traveling.
Let's see it. I think some okay. Okay. Where this is, Daniel?
Yeah, this is from Colombia this year. So this is the Blackwater River of Rio Atabapo.
Okay.
Like a very well-known major stream of Colombia. Well, you can already see the black water now. So the water is very shallow. It's only maybe half a meter deep. And all these white guys running around, like the people with the white shirts, of course, they're all members of the GBL expedition.
Yes, I heard of that expedition. This is the same river, Atabapo, yes?
Yes.
Okay, famous for his whiptails, yes? I heard the story of the crying whiptail, the Loricaria sp Rio Atabapo, that it's not found in there. It's right.
It doesn't live in there, yeah. It's quite funny, but it's, I don't know, for the last 15 years maybe, when we first got to see this fish, we still call it species Rio Atabapo, because exporters just told us, okay, this species is from Atabapo, but it can't be found there. It's not living there. So some of our common names are really have to be changed.
Funny.
It's a beautiful place. So even if you don't find anywhere, we found plenty of Hemiluricaria formosa, for example, in this area. Also beautiful fish, beautiful whiptail.
It's easy to find these species in this dark water.
Yeah, actually, yes.
Yes, yeah. But it's how deep normally you find them the most.
You mean the whiptail or in general?
In general.
Well, most catfish and placos, of course, they live between branches and stones. But the Hemiluricaria, the whiptails, they're just living everywhere on the sand. So the thing is, you don't go out to collect the fish itself. If you try to catch them, you just need to scoop in the sand, and you catch all the sand, and then you just put it on the riverbank, and then you can find all the whiptails hidden in the sand. Actually, it's way easier because they're too fast. So if you're running after a single fish, then you have no chance to get it.
Okay. We have a question here from, I don't know if Olivia, if Craig, but
yeah. My favorite
What's your
pleco, yeah.
favorite pleco?
Well, I think it is actually a Barriancistros crusolomos. It's L47.
47, yes.
Yeah. And it's not
And
because of the species itself, but it was my first fish I caught myself in Xingu. So it's not the
okay,
first fish I caught in general, or my first pleco I caught in South America, but this was on Xingu. And
okay,
it's as you said, everybody loves Xingu, and it's
yes,
such a magical place. And we went out there and we went diving, and I was very lucky because it was very very close to the riverbank, so I just had to grab it. But it was like a beautiful specimen. Of course, on the other side, in 2018 we collected L519, the one I sent you on the white background. It's a beautiful
okay.
fish. I'm still
Let's
very
see it.
proud of it.
Let's see
Still very proud of it
Let
because we were able to collect it. And like
we have.
Olivia is breeding it too, I think. Maybe Craig is helping her, but this is L500. That's like the one, but that's my favorite L number I presented because it's 500. I did this together with Håkon from Norway.
Okay, okay.
This was like a magical number for us. I
Let's
think
see if I
very rare.
found the. Yes. Okay,
But
I think I'm confusing with the L51. L501. It's better
oh
this
yeah,
way.
I haven't collected this one yet myself.
Okay.
Might do next year. So
Let's see if I found the fish you said with
it's
the white
this. I
background.
think it's called a red honeycomb too.
Let's see. Let's
This
see
is
it.
L499. This is L414. A lovely ancestrus, also from Bolivia. Very broad-headed
Okay.
species. Very much looking like ranunculus.
Yes, it's very similar. Let's
This is
see
a
it. If I
German-bred
say yes.
L97.
Let's see it. Let's see it if I found it. This is one of my
Oh, that's the one I was
my
talking about.
preferred. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
This
This is a very special fish because, as I said, we discovered it in 2018, and we brought
okay.
some specimens back, and they were very very easy to breed. So you literally only
Okay.
need some water and a male and a female, and it's now like being bred worldwide on an international basis.
Yes, yes, yes.
And
But
this is like,
I
of course, what we want.
but I asked you before that this is from Rio Itinés, but you didn't said that it's a river near, right? Not in
Yeah, well,
Rio Itinés.
it is living in Itinés itself, yeah, but
Okay.
also in the tributary of Rio Itinés.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Daniel, another
The
question
very
here.
north of Bolivia.
Did you any collection or exploring at all during your time in North America this year?
Oh yeah, I did too. Yeah.
Yes.
So in when was this? I think in July and August I spent 2 weeks in Northern America.
Okay.
We started in Kentucky at the ACA convention, the All American Cichlid Association. They
Okay.
were linked with some other clubs. And afterwards, a good friend of mine, Tim Stone, he took me south to Florida, and we had made this trip before, I think in 2017, and we went to Florida for collecting, and in Georgia too. Of course, we went
Okay.
to see some elasoma and some beautiful darters and shiners and all this stuff, but I didn't bring them back, of course, so because that's illegal. Yeah, but like Florida
Okay.
is like one of the best places if you want to go collect
Yes.
fish.
Yes.
And it's quite easy because you have nice hotels everywhere and you can get a beer in the afternoon in a nice chilled restaurant. So that's
The
a good
great
find.
scenario.
Yeah,
The best scenario possible.
yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Okay. We have here
Thank you.
some. And this is from where, Daniel?
This is from
Colombia.
Colombia. And yeah, this is a very special place because
Okay.
if we go up now, you will realize or you will see a river coming from the
Okay.
south of Colombia. and in the upper left corner you will soon see the Rio Atabapo. And at the
Okay,
place
okay.
where I'm standing, from where I'm maneuvering the drone, it's actually the Rio Orinoco already.
Ah,
And that's a
yes.
very special area in Colombia because it's called Estrella Fluvial. It's like river, no, like how's it to be translated? Like star of rivers, or where the rivers meet, because this is the area where the Atabapo, the former Orinoco, and the Guaviare, they meet, and then they form the Orinoco as we know it. Oh yeah, I do, Craig. Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
So this is a beautiful
Okay,
area.
but yes, and this Daniel, this is great. It's well, and this is the best,
Oh yeah,
right?
that's a stunning
From
landscape.
Colombia too, right?
Yeah, Colombia too. And the river you can see is Rio Mavicure. It's
Yes.
afterwards it's flowing into the Rio Inirida, which then again flows into the Rio Atabapo, or they form together. They form the Orinoco. That's the correct way to say it. And this is just a beautiful landscape because you have dense jungle, and then suddenly you have three of those hills emerging, and nothing else. So you can still see the river in the back, and just a very small hill,
Yes.
and that's it. There's one small village down there, but otherwise it's like totally nature, and
Well,
it's just beautiful to go up there. So we went up there in the early morning at 5 a.m. and then whenever you get up there, this is maybe like 7 o'clock in the morning now. So this video,
and it's
it's
easy to
just
get this place. It's easy.
it is quite easy actually, yeah, because
Yeah.
it's also known for tourists. So from
Okay.
Puerto Inirida, you can charter a boat, and then you just well, you just have to go there by boat, which takes you like 4.5 hours. And then you have to pay a small fee.
Okay.
Cheers, and yeah, you get up there. So this Marcus
Okay.
Kaluza, who was just saying cheers, he also joined
Yeah.
me this year, earlier this year, on an expedition to Bolivia.
I saw a lot of photos of Marcos in. I think it was in on Xingu with some
Yeah, he was.
pseudacanthicus.
Yeah, yeah, he's
Great
working a lot
photos.
with he's working with cactus plaques, cactus mainly. Yeah,
Yeah. Yes. Great. It's my favorite genus. I think maybe with Ipan sisters too, but I love
yeah.
pseudacanthicus.
Well, I
Daniel,
think
do you
you
have? Yes. Yes.
no,
Sorry.
go on, go on. I think you will soon start to be more into Pseudacanthicus. Hypancistris seems to be the genus everybody starts with, and then
Yes. Yes.
afterwards you're more like, okay, let's get the difficult things rolling.
Yes. Well, yeah, for me it's difficult now to start with the pseudacanthicus because I have small tanks. Only I have Ippancistrus and Ancistrus, some different species of Ancistrus, like the Lucia. It was recently described,
Yeah,
and some other.
it's a
Well,
beautiful fish.
Daniel, yes, yes, yes. Daniel, do you have some great moments in these expeditions? Some stories that you can tell us? The the best ones, the best ones.
Oh, the best ones. The best ones are also the funniest ones, right?
Yes, yes,
From
yes.
expeditions. What's the question is which to start with? Like, I see Marcos already says Xingu 2021, Bolivia, Brazil. Oh, that's where he has been. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's one
With
funny
you,
story I always.
he did these expeditions with you.
Well, yeah, only the one to Bolivia. So after his
Okay,
Xingu expedition, he tried to get on a real expedition to like get into real adventure, and then he joined me. And then it was too much adventure for him, so he went back to Brazil.
okay,
Yeah, looking forward
okay.
to
You
see what
can
he
tell
does.
us. You can tell us not the funny moments, but the danger moments.
Well, there was one
Yes.
moment I still enjoy a lot because thinking about it now is very funny. But this was
Okay.
actually on my very first expedition I just mentioned when I was 21, and I was
Okay.
going to meet a friend at a very interesting biotope, and I had to travel there by bus. So I was more or less on my own in this bus. And then suddenly the bus was stopped, and there was a police control, which is common not in Germany, in Bolivia. So you get controlled by the police like at least once a day if you're from Germany. And then I got like I got told, okay, please, Mr. Konn-VETTERLEIN, you now have to step out of the bus. And I was like, well, why? So what's happening? And there were two police officers, and they brought me into a small room, and they were like, okay, we now have to see your document of birth. And I was like, well, sorry, I don't have a document of birth. So I'm on vacation, and nobody's carrying his document of birth. And they were like, well, if you don't have it, you can either pay us and then you can go, or we have to put you in prison, unfortunately. And back at that time, I spoke more or less fluently and perfect Spanish. So I was arguing with them in Spanish, and I think this made them like fear a little bit for their money, but they still put me into prison for half an hour. And I was in prison for half an hour, and they were like, well, do you prefer to pay now, or do you prefer to stay? And I was like, well, you're not getting any money from me. And they were like, well, what are we going to do with him? And half an hour later, they had somebody else, also, let's say, a gringo, so somebody not native to Bolivia. And he got into my cell, and I was removed. And I was just pulled out of that police department, and they were just saying, yeah, go, 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 leave, leave. So they were so annoyed of me that I started arguing with them. Of course, it was like back at that moment, I was like, my heart was beating. But afterwards, it's a great story to tell. So my mom loved it when I was back in Germany. I told her, well, you're not going back there, Daniel, never, ever. But yeah, it's like one of those moments. Now I'm very happy that I lived through it.
These moments are funny after that.
Yeah, only afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, Daniel, and with diseases, did you get what? Sorry.
Just like a very short story, but when I was traveling in 2015, it was my English buddies, Richard Smith and Stephen Grant. And this was the first time I took friends, and I was like very much like, okay, we have to catch good fish, and we have to catch new fish and the best fish and everything, even though they didn't expect anything special to happen. But I felt like I would need it for them. And then we got stuck because it was my fault. And we got stuck in the middle of nowhere, and the car didn't move. And I was like, oh my god, what's happening now? And we didn't catch a single fish for 3 days. And then I managed to get the car stuck, and that was a horrible moment. And they were turning totally quiet. And afterwards, they were like, well, Daniel, this was one of the most funny moments of the whole trip, when you were like getting angry and you tried not to show us. So still, every time we talk about this back now, it's like very, very funny.
Well, Daniel, I think but tell me, normally these expeditions, how many days? That if you are talking about 3 days without seeing any fish,
well,
well,
yeah, I like to go down there for as long as possible. So normally I go there for 5 weeks in total, roughly 5 weeks.
Whoa.
And the last trip to Bolivia, for example, was 2 weeks only. But this only was because I was in Colombia right before for 3 weeks. So it's just, if you go down there for 2 weeks, you need at least 2 days to travel just to get there and to get back. And then if you travel to countries like Bolivia, you also need 2 days in the end just to be sure to make it back to the airport, because they very often have like strikes, or they just block a road, and then you're not able to move. So if you're stuck somewhere in the jungle and you see your plane home flying above you, so that's not a big help.
Yes.
So you need a lot of time just to be sure to like for all the surroundings.
Yes.
And then of course you have to travel to the remote places. This will take you a day or two maybe.
Okay. Yeah. Daniel, I know that you love birds too. Do you have time to watch birds in these expeditions or no?
I try to, but normally I don't have time. So every time I'm traveling, I'm like, hey, this year I will also focus on birds and grasshoppers and beetles and reptiles. But afterwards, whenever you collect a fish, the fish is just like totally in focus. So, and then you don't mind the bird anymore. You're only, okay, pictures of this fish, of this fish, of this fish. And it just takes day and night, really, literally. So there's not much time for birds.
Okay.
unfortunately.
And when you enter in those waters, you don't have scared of some animal, or how you could know?
Well, it's also part of the adventure, right? To see, we once caught a caiman, a juvenile caiman, and it was just
Okay.
popping out of our net, but it was so small that it couldn't harm us. So, but
Okay.
gators and caimans, they are more afraid of us than we are of them. I hope.
And snakes? No, not snakes.
I haven't met too many snakes, to be honest, yet. So maybe I just don't see them, or maybe they're always gone whenever we enter the water.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Run away, run away. Well, Daniel, let's see another video,
Yeah, love
a
to.
little bit different from the previous. Yes. How you get this one with these boats?
Yeah, this was also in Colombia. And this small creek is very close to the mountains we saw in the previous video.
Okay.
And you can see that I'm still trying to figure out how that drone works. I almost smashed it at that place, but I still have it and it's still working. So this was a beautiful, very small creek, and it doesn't look like there would be many fish in there, but we collected so many cichlids and tetras and not many catfish actually, but I think maybe like 8 or 9 different species of catfish, of tetras, sorry,
Okay.
and pike cichlids and apistogramma, crinicycla, the lugubris form, like beautiful fish really.
Okay.
And they're easy to
It
collect them
seems
because
to.
you can see all the trees, the fallen trees and the branches, and you just use a big net, and then you pull the whole tree or branch, whatever it is, you just pull it on the riverbank, and then you just wait for the fish to come out, because the fish
Yeah,
obviously,
okay.
they will start to move to try to get back to the water, and then you can just pick them like strawberries.
Okay. It's nice. And this one, Daniel, this is beautiful image.
Oh yeah, this is from the Bolivia trip this year, so that's one of my
Okay.
favorite videos actually, because I think it just looks like paradise. And this is
Yes, yes.
Rio
This is
Tuquis. This
great.
is part of the Bolivian Pantanal.
Okay.
Yeah, we collected several cories there and some very nice Apistogramma combre.
But this river seems deeper than the previous one. Yes.
Oh yeah, this was very deep. Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I didn't go down to the middle, of course, but I couldn't stand 2.5 meters away from the riverbank, so it was too deep already, like more than 2 meters.
okay. I think, a question here from Look of Flights
Do you
yourself
look
for
like this
yourself.
yourself? Oh no, no. I really don't like those companies too much, not because of the companies themselves, but whenever I go somewhere, I want to go somewhere where I can experience the real adventure. And if I go
Okay.
somewhere where a company has already been, I'm more or less booking to catch specific fish. So I don't want to be taken to this part of a river to catch hypensistris zebra, and then to another part more upstream to catch L25, the Pirara pseudacanthicus. I want to experience myself what this river or this body of water in general has to offer. So I prefer a day without fish instead of going somewhere where like hundreds of people have been already. And so I don't want to be person number 242 that collects the same fish at the same spot.
Okay. Okay. Understand. And this one, Daniel.
This is a very
This
special creek. This is on top of a mountain. It's like a flat mountain, very similar to the Tepuis in Venezuela.
okay.
And we studied this creek for a whole day, and we didn't find a single fish there.
Oh,
But it was still a beautiful day. And well, that day, I think we collected 2 species of fish, a cory and a tetra, an astyanax. And still, this creek was far more fascinating because it was flowing on this mountain, on the top of this mountain. There's a huge waterfall, like in the upper right corner now of the video. And as you can see on the video too, like the the creek appeared to be golden, almost like burning lava.
Yes.
It's
It's
what we call,
different color.
holy island. Yeah, and it was a really beautiful place.
This is amazing.
Yeah, this is where I took more pictures of grasshoppers actually that day than of fish. And all my travel
Yes,
companions,
Marcus
they loved it.
asking from grasshoppers.
Yeah. If you're out there, then and you don't get any fish, you have to document all the other stuff, right?
Yeah, of course.
Right.
we have a lot of photos now. This is your 10, I think. Do you saw him? Yeah. No. Let's see. The first
Yeah,
start from
this
the
is one of the
beginning.
boats we use. Yeah. Well, this is
Yeah.
a typical campsite. Yeah, this is from 2018. This was the first night of maybe 12 nights where we put up our tents. This is the Rio Blanco in central Bolivia. Well, that's also like all these pictures are just like perfect memories actually. That's from the same trip. That's our boat. So we travel very easy. We don't have a lot of luggage. We don't bring too much stuff because um, you sometimes don't know if the water level is high enough, for example, and then you have to carry all that stuff. This is at the border to Brazil. This is the Rio Curichá, a blackwater river too, a very small tributary of Rio Itanes.
Okay. This is the same, right?
Yeah, exactly. This is maybe like 500 meters more upstream. But this picture shows very well how we are living, how we are working. Because whenever we go on a trip, we don't have like a real electricity coming. So what we
Yes.
do is we bring those solar panels and then we charge all our batteries on our
Okay.
own.
This is. Let's
So
pause. Yes. We can saw the solar panels.
in the lower
The
right
right
corner.
side. Yeah.
And on this trip, we were with, or I was with 3 friends of mine, and everybody brought one of this panel. So in the end, we had 20 of these panels. And my idea was that everybody can charge his own batteries. But in the end, it
Okay.
turned out that I was taking so many pictures that I needed all these panels for my own batteries. The idea was right from the beginning that I take the pictures of the fish, and all the other guys were like, well, if you're like really taking pictures of every single fish and I'm using 2 to 3 flashes every time, then you will need all these panels. And I was like, well, Gerhard, do you really need to take this picture or can I use your batteries, please? So yeah.
But it's difficult to travel like this and do not take memories. Yes.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, really.
Yeah. Yes, I think the next photos are from Rio Tabapu again. I think. Let's see.
Well, if it's white sand and black water, that's likely.
Yes. You could see it yet.
Oh yeah, that's Atabapo.
Yes. Tabapu again.
So that's very typical.
Yes,
So only on this picture you can already estimate the pH of the river because the sand is so clear and so white, partly because the water has such a low pH that all the organic material is being, let's say, it's being burned, it's being dissolved. So this is why the water.
It's like 5. It's like 5.
No, it's far less. It's
Or
like
lower.
3. At exactly this location, it's 3.5. So we measured it at all the locations we stopped, and right here it's 3.5.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, it's just beautiful. Yeah. It was the first expedition I took my drone to, and it just it paid out really.
Yes. Drone take great images.
Yeah, you just
Is
get a
this
totally
from the same?
different
Yes.
view. This is a tributary of Rio Atabapo, but a clear water, and it has a very different fauna.
Yes, I joined that as many photos as I look similar, but I think let's see, it's from Rio Tabapo. I like these photos. This like kind of photos.
No, see this is Atabapo again. The previous one was Rio Orinoco. This was at the same location where we've seen the video.
Let's see. Yes.
As you can see,
Rio.
it's white water.
Yeah.
So you can see that the sand is not as white anymore. It's becoming a bit
Let's see it. Let's
dirty.
see. Sorry. Are you talking about the photo of Rio Orinoco?
Yeah, the one you
No.
just showed where
Ah,
you could see the boat
this
in the
one.
middle. Yeah,
This
this one.
one?
Yeah, this is Orinoco already. You just
Okay.
have a look at the sand. You can see that it's not white anymore.
Yes,
It's
yes.
getting more like a beige color. And of course, in the water, you can see all the clouds where people have been moving and running around in the water. So this doesn't happen in Rio Atabapo.
Okay. Let's see more photos. This is like the little river we saw.
Yeah, it's a different creek, yeah, but
Okay.
of a very similar type, yes. And just imagine all the catfish and placos that are living on these branches and fallen trees. So
Yes.
it's just paradise. Just go there, and you can
Yes.
spend a whole day just by lifting trees and branches and stones, and you will always find a new fish.
And you want to bring home every fish you found.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, normally, yes. Yeah. And then you're standing there in the middle of the field, and you're like, well, I didn't know this apistogramma exists, and it's not very beautiful, but I do want it now.
Yes, yes.
So
This
this is
is
Bolivia
amazing
again.
image there.
This is from this year, a national park where we were allowed to catch fish in. Yeah, and
Oh,
as you can see, if you check out the road, it's a totally new road,
yes.
and this national park is located in a valley, and the valley is surrounded by these mountains. So whenever you
Oh,
enter the valley, it's just like pristine, 100% nature,
yes.
and nothing else is happening down there.
Just silence. Yes.
Yeah, really. Yeah, you
Yeah.
hear birds all the time, but that's it. So when we hit that road, there was no other car the whole day.
Yeah. This is amazing images. The same we saw
Yeah,
before. Yeah. This is this is from Colombia, right? That you
this is from Colombia.
we
This
saw.
is when we hiked up that mountain. Yeah, this I call this Caras Galathon because there's a mountain or a hill in Lord of the Rings, which looks
Yeah.
just like that. Dimitris will know if he's still listening.
I don't know if he is here.
He might
Daniel.
have gone.
Yes. I know that you don't are a person who are normally on the social networks, but where we can saw your work, your photos, your what you discover, where we can find it.
Well, normally I do it, or I present the stuff we do during the expeditions in talks, of course. I love giving talks.
Okay.
So, but also in articles, then, yeah. We just finished an edition for the DATS. I don't know, it's like the leading German magazine for
Yes, yes.
freshwater. And Marcus and me, we just finished an edition about our Bolivia trip, for example, in there, about one of his Brazil trips. So yeah, it made mainly in articles and talks. I'm not too much into all the like social networks because
Yeah.
not because I don't want to share my experiences or the pictures, but especially on Facebook, it's like you post a picture and then everybody loves it, but 2 days afterwards, all the discussions and all what people like were telling you or were discussing about this picture, this fish, it's just lost.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
like
It's
forums
true.
or like Planet Catfish,
Yes.
for example. Planet Catfish is very nice because you can still look up topics from 20 years ago, and Facebook is just like well, Facebook or all the other social media nowadays that are being used. It's just
Yes.
lost.
Yes. But forums are dying. Yes.
Oh yeah, they're dead already, I
Yeah.
think.
Yes.
Yeah. This
Daniel,
is
this yes, these fishes are all collected by you. Yes.
yeah. Well, by me or like by one of my travel companions, of course.
Okay.
These are
This
cool.
is
These thorny catfish, Platydoras amatulus. You can identify them when they are still underwater because they are living in the branches and in crevices of stones. And only by touching them, they feel so different to all the other very similar looking fish that by
Okay.
touching you can tell the species.
And made some sounds, no?
Yeah, they're like
Not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really
Yes.
fun.
This is a strange fish. What is?
Yeah. Well, I think the common name is like thermometer knife fish. It's Gymnoram fichtis hypostomos, and that's also one of these fishes. Whenever you want to collect them, you have to catch tons and tons of sand, and then just browse through the sand to find these fishes, because at daytime they're just hidden somewhere in the bottom in the substrate. At nighttime they're coming out, but they're very difficult to feed. And this specimen is 26 centimeters long, so it's adult. It's quite large, but they're very delicate and they're not feeding very well. So we brought some of these back some years ago, but they were very difficult to keep, and we didn't
to keep the
end up
diet.
successful, unfortunately. Yeah.
Okay. I think there is others.
Yeah. That's a new species of Rhynchodoras we discovered on that
Of
trip.
what? Sorry, of what?
Rhynchodoras.
Oh.
Rhynchodoras. RHINCH. I can't comment it here, but
It's
that's Imparfinis dictonotus, also from Bolivia.
okay.
They're behaving very similar to Corridoras. So they're just darting around very fast, and whenever somebody steps in front of the tank, they disappear. And this catfish mixes pectinifrons. They often live together with the Raphael cats we saw before, with a yellow-black striped one. And you can really tell by having them in your hand, by handling them, you can tell which of these two species it is.
I have a lot of great fish here.
Yeah. Well, all of these fish, unfortunately, so they will never make it into the hobby. This might, that's Laemoluta tenuata. They have this beautiful lipstick mouth.
Yes.
They're being imported now and then.
Never?
Yeah, sometimes, but only single specimens and not too many. So
not so common.
Yeah, this one is beautiful.
Yes.
Ancestroinches.
Big teeth.
Oh yeah.
And
predatory.
Which have your name, Daniel?
Well, none. Yeah, well, thanks for that question. No. Yeah, so I'm still missing this. Yeah. This is
you will have yes. But you have. Are you preparing a new species with your name? No.
Well, I'm currently preparing 2 species descriptions, but I wouldn't dare to put my own name on a new fish described by me. So that would be very narcissistic. So I'm waiting for somebody else to do it, maybe somewhere in the future. But, so I could never enter my Facebook again, I think, if I would do that. So yeah, just like Luke said, it's Rhynchodoras. Yeah. The snout is a bit different to Rhinodoras.
Okay, for me it's very strange, some names.
That's a happy knife fish.
Okay.
So I was so happy.
Happy, yes.
Started smiling right away.
Smile at the photo.
Yeah. Yeah, the fish love it to be put in a small photo tank. Yeah.
Well, Daniel, I will look for more questions. We are reaching 1 hour of live. I have one final question for you.
Yeah.
If you had the possibility to send a message to all the hobbyists, what do you like to say?
Oh yeah.
It's a difficult question.
Getting political now, no. But one of the main aims I think most of us are actually working on is really to establish rare species in the hobby. And a problem that I'm facing, or that might be a personal problem only, but I think the whole hobby is facing this, even though some people don't like don't understand or don't want it to be true. But like the L519 we saw, the very nice reddish one, it's a beautiful
Yes.
fish. And when we posted that picture on Facebook, everybody was like, I want it, I want it, I want it. And I got so many messages from so-called friends and like people
Yeah.
I never met and people I never had contact with. And the other ancestors, this very broad but gray ancestors, it's far more difficult to keep alive only. But nobody wants this fish. So far, there were
Okay.
maybe four or five people asking me for this fish. And, and a similar story is everybody wants to breed zebra plecos and L82 and L236. And if you ask people
Yes.
why this, and then they're like, oh, it's about species conservation because they're threatened in the wild. And they're like, yeah, but L46, we've got like thousands only in Germany. We've got a
Yes.
farm in Indonesia and they're producing
Yes.
hyper-ancestor zebra. So we should focus actually more on the really endangered species. Everybody tries to conserve or to breed the same fish, and this is not how it works. It's like all the
Yes.
zoological gardens, they're all focusing on the panda. So, but if everybody's breeding the panda, all the other species are being forgotten, right?
Yes.
And I
Yes.
think
Of course.
especially right now, because at least I know in Germany or in the whole EU, it's actually like this. So we are now facing other problems we are brought up by the politics. So,
Yeah.
and if we want to show that we are really doing some serious conservation, then we should focus on all kind of fish, all kind of species or animals in general. But
Yeah.
I think there's still too many people in the hobby, good people actually, and they're also
Yes.
serious about it, but they're focusing on the wrong kind of fish. So
Yes.
this
It's true,
is something
Daniel.
that I think would be good for everybody if we would all try to establish more species.
Yes, it's true. It's a great messenger, message,
Yeah,
Daniel.
well,
So,
it's my way to
well,
some.
Daniel, many thanks for your this 1 hour live. It will for me to it was a great pleasure to talk with you. Sorry for my English, so
Well, I'm not a native
but
speaker
it's
either, so thanks a lot for the invitation and for this start of your
yeah,
international tour. I'm very sure it will
yes,
go well.
yes. I hope so. I hope so. So good
Yeah,
luck for your for tomorrow for your event. It will
yeah.
be
Thanks.
speaking German, right?
Tomorrow will be German again. Yeah, yeah.
German,
Today has
yes,
been
yes.
crazy. Today we've mixed
It's
Spanish and German and English and everything.
whoa.
So
German,
tomorrow.
it's not for me. It's impossible for me to understand.
Well, we also show pictures, so just get online and look at the
Okay,
picture.
of course. Daniel, thank you so much once again, and probably we will see us on the event in
Yeah,
the
on the Alnave
future.
Day. Yeah,
Yes, yes.
in Germany in
I
October.
hope. I hope. Well,
Perfect. Thanks for
Daniel,
having me.
bye, bye. Thanks,
See
and
you
thanks
later.
to all the people who are listening till now,
Yeah,
and thanks for
and for
watching.
all the 4, yeah, or 5.
Yeah.
I know it's
No.
big. Yeah.
15 for now. Well,
Oh,
thanks.
see,
Yes.
we'll see. All
Well,
right. Have a good evening then.
yes, the same. Bye
See
bye.
you.
See
Ciao.
you.